Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Stephen Burns, geologist, geophysicist, and space weather guy. Right now, we are sitting inside a geomagnetic storm. It's the 8th of August, a date known to a lot of people as the 88 Lionsgate Portal. Whatever that means to you personally, it means something different for everybody. I have my own connection to 88 because it happens to be my sister's birthday. It's a family celebration for us every year. But beyond the personal side, we are currently in a G1 geomagnetic storm that could strengthen to G2 levels in the H hours ahead. That means this is a minor storm right now with the potential to become a moderate storm. Big energy fluctuations happening across the globe as we speak. These geomagnetic storms happen, but not that frequently, which is exactly why they're worth paying attention to when they occur. A storm like this generates more plasma here on our planet, and plasma is a genuinely unique state of matter. 99.9% of the universe is plasma. We call it the fourth state of matter because you have solids, liquids, gases, and then plasma. But really, plasma is the first state. Things begin as plasma and then condense down into these less energetic forms. So whenever we get a geomagnetic storm, it creates energy fluctuations and volatility across the planet within us, and it also connects us more directly to the space environment, to the sun, to the interplanetary environment that all the planets are nested within. So the fact that we're having a G1 geomagnetic storm that looks like it's going to strengthen on Lionsgate is very interesting, because this is a date a lot of people believe marks some kind of energetic portal opening. There have been a variety of interesting things that have occurred on 88 before. Earthquakes, fires, and more if you go back and look. We also had a geomagnetic storm last year on 88 in 2025, so that's an interesting pattern in itself. Today I'm going to walk you through exactly what's happening in terms of the space weather, and we've had some genuinely incredible activity from the sun today. Take a look at this, a massive release of plasma from the side of the sun, actually forming an infinity symbol. How fitting. Is that on 88? See that right there, that infinity sign? It's cut off by the field of view, so we don't get the full loop, but we still get this large infinity-shaped plasma structure, followed by a secondary push right after it. That happened in just the past 24 hours. So we're going to go through the basic space weather picture first, and then we're going to dive deeper into this energetic portal that's supposedly open. Because whether you personally believe in it or not, there's power behind belief. And on top of the geomagnetic storm, we also have this comet here, C2020 P1 McNaught, passing relatively close to Earth in its orbit, and it is undergoing a dramatic outburst, one of the biggest cometary outbursts ever observed. So if you're into this Lionsgate portal, New Age spirituality framework, consider where we stand right now. We're in a geomagnetic storm, and we're about half an astronomical unit away from a comet, a larger than the planet Jupiter. That's a complex dusty plasma structure, which means there are now unusually strong electromagnetic interactions happening between this comet and the space environment, and therefore, potentially, with us. Comets like this one, Jupiter family comets, are short-period comets that exist between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter, transitioning through the asteroid belt in that zone between the inner planets and the outer planets. The outer planets are often seen, in this framework, as reposaic, tories of information and consciousness that transcend the ego and go beyond ordinary day-to-day life. So the fact that we have a comet acting as one of these celestial messengers, traveling from the outer planets to the inner planets on a roughly 5.5-year cycle, sitting right near its closest approach to Earth, in the middle of one of the largest cometary outbursts ever observed, at the exact same time we're inside a geomagnetic storm. That's a remarkable coincidence of timing, at minimum. So whether or not you subscribe to the 88 Lionsgate framework, if you do, we are in the conditions that would, in theory, allow someone in a meditative state to connect to these larger energy, information, and consciousness fields, and perhaps receive some profound realizations, or just information. Downloads, uploads, whatever language you want to use for it. Because of that, we're also going to do a sound healing today. I have my gong set up over here, and I'll walk you through it. A nice long sound healing with some singing bowls too, including the crown chakra bowl and a set of Tibetan bowls ads running during that part of the video. I hope you'll stay and join in, because the power of a collective meditation really shouldn't be underestimated. The more people who join in on this meditation and sound healing together, the more profound the experience tends to be for everyone involved. So, hello and welcome again. I'm your host, Stephen Burns. Happy 88. Let's get into the data. Here's the sun right now, and you'll notice there are basically no sunspots visible. There's one tiny sunspot right here, another one right there, and one rotating out of view on the edge. On the far side of the sun, there's essentially nothing as well. Sunspot activity right now, I S close to 0 across the entire sun, which is notable because at the same time we're in this geomagnetic storm from plasma that was launched earlier. Here's our X-ray flux reading. You can see we've been on a declining trend for the highest frequency light coming off the sun because there are so few sunspots. Solar flares produce X-ray flux and extreme ultraviolet flux too, but sunspots themselves generate that light flux inherently because they're magnetic vortices and disturbances on the solar surface. Right. Now we're in the middle to lower end of the B-class range, which is about the lowest we've been in some time. So by that measure, solar activity is very low right now, and yet we're still in this geomagnetic storm. Here are our KP indices. You can see we were at quiet conditions through the 7th of August, and then things started ramping up, really kicking off around 8 a.m. Universal Time, though we didn't reach G1 levels until around noon. We've been elevated since then, and there's more still coming in. If we look at our solar wind observations, you'll see the solar storm impact arriving. Solar conditions started off normal, then strengthened, reaching a peak of nearly 20 nanotesla. Normal strength is closer to 5. If you look at these purple ZNG magnetic connection to the solar wind, I call them buckets. And we see one nice long bucket of good connection here, and then look at this newest one that's just coming in. There's roughly a 1-hour delay between what gets picked up at our L1 point in space, about 1% of the distance from Earth to the Sun, and when it actually reaches us. That delay depends on solar wind velocity, which right now is very low. See this yellow line? It's showing roughly 330 kilometers per second, maybe 350. But it's dense. Density is hovering above 10 particles per cubic centimeter. So this is a slow but dense solar wind structure, and here's where we spike to a G1 plus level, arriving after that bucket because of the delay. We're at 16 nanotesla and negative 15 for the BIS component. That's a strong connection with the solar wind right now. It looks like for most of the 88th, we're going to be sitting inside this storm. Here's a ground fluctuation model built from magnetometer data points collected across the globe, plotting the actual magnetic disturbances in the polar regions and across the surface generally. You can see we're in a fairly significant geomagnetic storm right now, concentrated mostly in the polar regions because that's where the energy channels down north and south pole. But the disturbance is happening across the entire globe. Right now it's sitting at that minor level, but it could very plausibly strengthen to moderate levels in the hours ahead. It's worth taking a step back here and putting this storm in a bit of context. G1 storms are actually fairly common over the course of a solar cycle. They can produce weak fluctuations in the power grid, minor impacts on satellite operations, and most visibly, auroras pushed down to higher latitudes than usual. A G2 storm, if we get there, extends that aurora visibility further south and can start to introduce more noticeable voltage irregularities in long transmission lines. But wait. What makes this particular storm worth flagging isn't the strength by itself, it's the timing, layered on top of the sunspot count sitting near 0, layered on top of the comet, layered on top of the date. Any one of those on its own wouldn't be remarkable. All of them stacking at once is what's catching people's attention. Now, the part I find really interesting is this comet, which I reported on yesterday. Many of you already watched that video, so you know what I'm talking about. C2020 P1. McNaught is a short-period Jupiter family comet, meaning it travels between the orbits of Jupiter and Mars. Picture J, Peter here, Mars there, and the comet's orbit threading between them. It had perihelion back around June 12th or 14th. I believe it was the 14th. Its closest approach to the Sun, right along the ecliptic plane. It's had 2 outbursts total, one back on the 3rd of June and another happening right now, which started on the 5th of August and is still ongoing. And this one is even brighter than the first. There's also an alignment worth noting. On this 88 portal, with this comet in outburst, you've got the Sun, the comet, Saturn, and Neptune all lining up. In this framework, that speaks to an expansion of awareness, consciousness, and spirituality more broadly. And notice how close this comet actually is, roughly 1 astronomical UNE, hit from Earth, about the same distance as Mars. So we have a comet with a coma that's expanded beyond the size of Jupiter, sitting close by, while this solar wind activates the Earth's magnetic field. If you're the kind of person who wants to connect to these energy fields, you really couldn't ask for a better set of conditions. Comets like this one have carried symbolic weight for people going back thousands of years, long before anyone understood the physics of a coma or a tail. Ancient civilizations across completely unconnected parts of the world tended to read a bright comet the same way, as an omen, a messenger, a disruption in the normal order of the sky, signaling that so, nothing on Earth was about to shift. We obviously understand the mechanics much better now. A comet outburst like this one is caused by subsurface ice sublimating rapidly as the nucleus warms. venting gas and dust outward fast enough to visibly balloon the coma in a matter of days. That's the physical explanation, and it's a good one, but I don't think that physical explanation and the symbolic one have to compete with each other. You can hold both. The comet is doing exactly what physics says it should do, and it can still function, for you personally, as a marker. A moment to pay attention, to notice what's shifting in your own life at the same time something visibly dramatic is shifting in the sky. So before we get into the sound healing, let's take a moment to feel into what all of this might mean. Here's our solar activity display again, which is genuinely wild to look at. If we rewind to the beginning, you'll see this launch. A large plasma filament destabilization right here, followed short. RTLE by a second one launching right after it. That's a huge plasma filament eruption, and it happened at 8 a.m. Universal Time. Today is the 8th of the 8th, 2026, which is also an 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, and 8 for the timing. That's a remarkable stack of coincidences, numerologically speaking. So, what might this all mean? This isn't something I do often, but to mark the day for all of you who are into this, we're going to do a quick tarot spread, just to see what the cards say, see how they land. My idea is to pull one card each for 3 questions. What does this mean for our energy? What does it mean for our spirit? And what does it mean for the earth? I've shuffled, cut the deck, and I'll pull 3 cards from the top. We're using a standard Rider-Waite deck. For energy, we pulled the 4 of Pentacles. And honestly, that doesn't look great on the surface. For spirit, we pulled a card that speaks to conflict. And we're already seeing some of that play out live in the comments, which is a funny bit of synchronicity. And for the earth, we pulled a card that speaks to abundance, nurturing, fertility, growth, development, and accomplishment, which lines up nicely with the general archetype of the earth herself. It seems the earth loves these geomagnetic storms. Being roughly 1 astronomical unit from the sun gives us the energy required for life, and right now she's soaking it in. The solar activity, the plasma, all of it. The energy card, the 4 of Pentacles, speaks to foundations, stability, and power, but also to a kind of constriction, a closed, claustrophobic feeling. Pentacles relate to money, but also to the body, your health, your overall wellness. So this card seems to be pointing at our foundations, our stability, our metabolic, and physis. Eichel state right now. The spirit card, competition, rivalry, conflict, disagreement, strife, tension, instability, exaggeration, overexertion, change, freedom, and loss, speaks for itself, especially watching the live chat react to a science channel suddenly pulling tarot cards. A lot of people know this channel as a science chan. Nell, and here I am doing a reading, so I understand the reaction. But this channel has never been just science. There's always been a spiritual layer running alongside it, even if it doesn't show up in every video. Let's pull one more spread, this time from a question in the chat. Someone asked, how can we heal the collective? That's a great question. Shuffle, cut, 3-card pull. Justice, 3 of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles. A lot of pentacles showing up today. Justice, to me, speaks clearly to the amount of dysfunction and injustice happening on this planet right now. Not something new, but the continuation of patterns that stretch back centuries. A lot of it tracing back to organized religion. If you look closely at the H, history. Millions of people have died throughout history in the name of one cause or another. But that's far from the only source of injustice in the world. What I read into this card is that there's real injustice being done against ordinary people, imply trying to live good, honest lives. The overwhelming majority of people just want a good life, want to help others, want family, friends, and community. That's most people, probably 90-some%. The 3 of Pentacles speaks to teamwork. The idea that we can build something remarkable when we work together, when people of different skills and crafts combine their efforts to build real communities. We have one planet, one vessel in this universe, and it's Earth. We can choose to make it extraordinary, or we can let it run down. Right now, it feels like a mixed picture. Some incredible work being done, but also a pull in the other direction. Still, I remain hopeful. The Page of Pentacles speaks to manifestation, financial opportunity, skill development, ambition, and diligence. To me, this points toward building a society where people actually have the opportunity to create abundance for themselves, which, right now, often isn't the case. Corporate profits sit at record highs in a lot of places, while wage earners, adjusted for inflation, are falling further behind than they have in decades. It's hard to square record profits with people struggling just to cover rent and groceries. This card, to me, speaks to building a collective where people are genuinely free to develop their skills, pursue self-actualization, and achieve financial security. That doesn't feel like too much to ask. I want to be clear about how I hold all of this. None of what I just walked through is a scientific claim. The storm numbers, the sunspot count, the solar wind velocity, the Bezier component, those are measured, published, verifiable figures, and I'll always separate that from the rest. The tarot, the numerology, the idea of a comet as some kind of messenger. That's a belief framework. one I personally find meaningful, but I'm not asking you to treat it as fact. What I'd ask is that you hold it the way you'd hold any personal practice. Journaling, prayer, meditation, whatever resonates for you, the value isn't in proving it's objectively true. The value is in what it opens up inside you when you sit with it. That's also, honestly, why days like this matter to people, whether or not there's anything provably special about the orbital mechanics involved. A shared date gives a large number of people permission, all at the same time, to stop, breathe, set an intention, and actually follow through on something they've been putting off. That collective focus is real, even if the astrological framing around it is symbolic. So whatever you take from the data side of today and whatever you take from the spiritual side, I hope you leave with something useful either way. Now we'll move into the sound healing. Find a comfortable position wherever you are. There are no ads running during this part, so you can fully relax and let your guard down. Headphones are recommended for the best experience, but before the G, start with the breath. Just notice it. Breathe in, breathe out. A sigh on the exhale helps activate the parasympathetic nervous system, helps the body relax. Breathe in and let it go. At a certain point, stop trying to force the breath bigger. Instead, let it get gentler, quieter over the course of several minutes, not 2 forced breaths. Feel into the shoulders. Maybe roll them gently, feel into the neck. Some of you are holding a lot of tension there. Others might feel fine either way. It's an important area to check in with. Let everything soften. A little shaking can help release whatever's left. Bring a sense of calm into the face. Relax it, then relax it again. A lot of tension collects in the jaw, the neck, the traps, the shoulders, and the surface of the skin, more than people realize. Try to connect with it and release it while keeping the breath slow and steady. Right now, this magnetic storm is engulfing the Earth. Comet McNaught sits nearby, a celestial repository of information from the deep past, activated in an unusual way through its 2 outbursts, one of them happening right now. We've had extraordinary solar activity to on Ode with massive plasma eruptions, and it is the numerological 88 portal. This is a genuinely unique window to connect with these energy fields. And to begin, let's bring our attention to the third eye, the space between the brows. Close your eyes. Let your breathing settle into something rhythmic, gentle, and deep. Start by visualizing yourself exactly as you are right now, from a third-person perspective, seated or lying down in the clothes you're wearing, in the room you're in, watching the rise and fall of your own chest. Now imagine a faint, shimmering iridescent energy field surrounding your body, slowly pulsing, dancing, sparkling. It's always there, even when we're not paying attention to it. Picture this field breathing in and out with you, contracting inward until it disappears into your body, then expanded. G back outward to fill the room. Each time it expands, it goes a little further, past the walls of the house, out into the neighborhood, beginning to overlap with the energy fields of the people around you, the trees, the animals, the earth herself, all merging into one shimmering field. Now direct your attention upward and imagine the plasma flowing down into the planet from the space environment, charging the shared field, making it feel more electric. Notice how that feels in your body. Notice how it might be connecting you, or everyone else, experiencing the same moment. Let that larger field settle down into your solar plexus, the body's central energy point, down through the heart, the sternum, into the belly. With this visualization built, really feel the connection running from your body outward to the cosmos. The Earth, the Sun, the other planets, the whole solar system, moving together as one connected, swirling whole. Billions of years of existence, change, evolution, memory, and history, all of it accessible if we simply know how to open to it, which we're doing right now. Ask yourself, what is something you'd like to know? Something you'd like to manifest? Something you'd like to improve? Anything is possible. With a pure intention, real drive, and focus. These realizations, the SE answers, come from all around us, but also from within us. If you feel that sudden, deep sense of knowing, trust it. That's your sign. We receive what is meant for us. Let the crown open upward, receiving whatever is meant to pollinate your intentions right now. Hope for a better world, one that's fair, equitable, and just. A world where people work together instead of apart. From here, we go a little deeper. Pause sync to our usual limitations, into places beyond ordinary imagination. This is the time to simply relax, to receive, and to notice whatever comes up for you. These gong sessions can be intense. Trust the process, and let the sound carry you. The gong and singing bowls continue for an extended period, building and releasing in waves, allowing space for the visualization to unfold without narration. And now, we begin the journey back. In many ways, that in itself was the real journey. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Notice where you are again, the room, your body. Bring your awareness gently back. Some of you went very deep during that. You're welcome to stay there a little longer if you want. There's no rush. That brings us to the close of today's sound healing. Thank you all for being here. It's been genuinely lovely creating this collective resonance together on 88 under such a unique set of energetic conditions. Wishing you all the best. Much. Meant to be a day of manifestation, of new and ambitious projects, of creativity, and of simply celebrating who you uniquely are as you continue on your own path towards self-actualization. Don't discount the collective energy available to you on a day like this. Thank you all so much for tuning in and taking part. Love and light, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.